We are nearly halfway through this spring split here in the LEC, and there's a game that just stood out to me to cover for this week, and it was the match of the week between Fnatic, the team that's the most dominant European team ever, who's won world championships, versus the new blood on the scene, the former Splice in MadLions. And this game lived up to expectations. It lived up to old blood versus the new, and it lived phenomenally well in the future. I feel this could be the match of the year. As a whole, I'm stoked to be covering this match. But my name is izlogic.business. Let's jump straight into things here with Fnatic versus the MadLions. So let's jump straight into the picks and bans, and starting with the bans, they're going to look slightly different to what they have done all throughout this season, as we're now on patch 10.3, so no longer should we be seeing bans of Akali and Lucian every single game. However, one common ban that stayed is Syndra, as Fnatic ban out LeBlanc, Soraka, and Nat Syndra. 3 AP champions that can be played mid mostly. Soraka obviously can be flexed to the top side of the map, and Syndra can also be flexed bot side, as well as LeBlanc being that strong burst AP mid laner. As for Mad, they also take out 3 AP champions. They take out 2 junglers in the Gragas and the Karthus, who are kind of predominant picks for Fnatic. Obviously means that they're forcing Fnatic, if they want an AP jungler, onto an Elise. And their first ban they actually make is the Yuumi, who's received quite a heavy buff in the recent patch. They made her less of just a healing tool on a single champion and made her more poke heavy, with her Q receiving a damage buff and her E receiving a slight tweak, lowering the amount of healing it actually does overall, which is kind of nice. I do like these bans overall, and it does make this game a bit more interesting in terms of picks. Now, for the first picks here for Fnatic, they immediately go for the Aphelios pick here. Senna's dropped off quite recently in the 10.3, receiving a few nerfs to her damage and also her attack speed, and she kind of isn't as useful as Aphelios, whose only nerf in the recent patch is that the Q mark can no longer be procced infinitely. You have a max range of 1,800 feet or yards, I don't know what the distance is, but it's now been lowered down to that. They, on the MadLions side, they choose to pick up their other ADC here in the MF, who's received a slight nerf, lowered her attack speed in a recent patch. And they also pick up a Lee Sin, strong, prolific early game jungler who can roam and do a lot of work. Now, obviously, with that MF pick, I would have preferred a Jarvan pick up here, just to isolate that Aphelios a bit more. And if they go for an Elise, it's kind of hard for her to escape from a fight if she just cataclysmed up and can only go rappelling up in the air. Kind of hard for her to do anything. Now, on the Fnatic side, they lock in here, Set and Elise. Set obviously has a W damage decrease in the recent patch, as well as a slight health decrease, and overall is not as good as what it used to be. That Haymaker will do a lot of damage still though, and it's something to be worried about. And they also lock in the only other AP jungler in Elise. Very strong early game as well as Lee Sin, so they want to match early for early, and also is very good at jungling with and locking up a target with that cocoon. So good pick there. And as for MadLions' last pick of this phase, they go for a strong top laner. Not so well into the set, but is still going to provide a lot more threat than what Set will in the late game, in that GP who has a high amount of burst, obviously that global that pairs well with MF ult, and very, very nice barrel chaining if he can land it. Now we jumped straight into the second ban phase here, as MadLions immediately take out a roaming mid laner here in the Pantheon, as other roaming mids like the LeBlanc and Syndra also have been taken off the board, and in response Fnatic take out two roaming mids in the Bard who can move around with his portals, and the Cassio who just slithers her way around the map quite quickly and easily. And these bans kind of force one team to have to take a rise, because there is really no other roaming mids unless you take like a Shen mid, but then you're obviously thinking, oh, on MadLions side they really can't take that Shen because obviously they'll be fully AD and that wouldn't be too good. And yeah, that is kind of why we do see a ban onto these two champions. And on MadLions' last ban, they choose to ban out a Thresh. Thresh obviously is very, very strong. It kind of forces a Nautilus pickup if you want that sort of hook CC chain champion. Thresh obviously can provide a lot of movability and also roam engagement to, say, bring a target back to safety or bring them into the fight. Getting into the last pick phase here, we start with the Rakan pickup here for MadLions. Very, very good pick. I would have liked to see a Braum pickup just to stop Fnatic from getting it and having a champion that can just block the bullet time or the barrel chains from getting through. But I do like the Rakan pick. It obviously means that you can combo into the Lee Sin kick and stun up a target and charm them, so they're really going to essentially die if they get caught out. And yeah, it does work, but I would have preferred Braum stopping Fnatic from getting it. However, Fnatic really don't care. They don't even pick the Braum. They go for Nautilus here, who obviously is the Thresh equivalent in this game. And yeah, he does obviously provide a lot of CC and usability with that set. If you knock up a person with that depth charge, he can easily be suplexed into your team. And Fnatic's last pick here, it will be their mid pick in the rapid fire spell slinging machine in Rise. And obviously he can split the map if need be. He also has that very, very nice amount of burst damage if he lands his EQ combo. Very, very easy to do as well. You're essentially going to be bursted out from 100 to 0 in less than 5 seconds. And in response, MadLions go for their own burst machine in Zoe. Obviously, you want to be using your ult offensively and not being caught out by that set. It's very easy to obviously be caught by a set if you're playing Zoe. All he has to do is suplex you back into the team, and as soon as you've used your ult, so you're essentially vulnerable. And yeah, it's very, very easy to be caught as Zoe. You just need to play it quite safe. Overall, if we look at the drafts as a whole, I do like what style MadLions have gone for here. There is a few picks here that I would have chosen instead of certain things, but you know, it still works out well. I'm surprised about that Bard ban though, overall, by Fnatic. I mean, you could have banned out a Zoe or a Rise and actually made the ban phase a little bit better, but who knows. That's basically the gist of this pick ban phase. Let's jump into the game winning fight, I would say, more than anything that won them the game. But yeah, let's jump into this and we'll break it down for you guys. So the fight takes place around the Mountain Drake pit, around 21 minutes into the game. Fnatic think they are first to the Drake pit and set up a very offensive line. However, they are not alone. Lee Sin has already warded and roamed around the back of the Dragon Pit, giving him a flank spot on the Fnatic members. Mad want to fight around this chokehold so that they can layer in the GP ult as well as the MF ult to provide maximum amount of damage onto the backline members of Fnatic. However, this is the horcrux to that play, as MF is actually standing on a pink ward and essentially gets cocooned as she unleashes her bullet time. Seeing his MF is caught out, Rakan makes a fantastic save, jumping in front of the Nautilus hook, stopping the MF from getting CC chained up. Aphelios launches his ultimate at that moment, trying to burst out the two caught out members of MadLions. However, Lee Sin sees the Aphelios ult and reveals behind the two Fnatic carries, looking to boot them into his team and knock him up indefinitely. Zoe hits her paddle star onto the Aphelios, and Rakan charms up and W's him, essentially giving the MF the one shot she needs before she gets locked up by the depth charge to kill the Aphelios. As MF is hit up by that depth charge, Set enters the fight and takes her to Suplex City, taking her over the wall into the remaining Fnatic members, killing her off, leaving it a 4v4. However, Nautilus is still in the remaining MadLions members, and he is essentially dead to rights as the four members alive collapse and kill him off, essentially giving him no escape. Now, Set does the thing here where he walks towards MadLions and tries to save his buddy. However, he oversteps a little bit too far, allowing the Zoe to chase him down. Now Zoe lands her Sleepy Trouble Bubble and then just immediately paddles stars down the Set, killing him off in his spot. And the remaining Fnatic members kind of are left to dead, as the two remaining members, the Elise and the Rise, have to run away or be killed, and essentially they get caught out. Elise tries to throw a cocoon onto the Zoe before Set dies, however, and that's where she overextends and essentially kills herself off there, and Rise just tries to save her life as well. They try to buddy keep each other alive, and it just doesn't work out for them. So, what do MadLions actually get from this play? Well, the immediate reward is a free Mountain Drake due to there being no champion able to contest them, as well as a lot of vision around the Baron Pit, essentially setting up the game-winning fight location and the ability to control it throughout the remainder of the game. Now, this was a very, very interesting game, and it's going to be good to actually give an overall analysis of. So if we look at this game as a whole, it was very, very close throughout the entirety of the game up until this point. And you look at Champion Select, there were a few issues in my opinion to what was picked and as well as banned, but it was obviously very close in terms of picks. There wasn't really that much of a noticeable issue with them. As for the entire game as a whole, that one fight, I feel that Fnatic should have cut their losses when Aphelios died. They should have backed away and tried to save as many members as possible, giving over less gold. Because, yeah, as soon as they killed Kazi, it was a 4v4. However, if you look at the remaining members' positions, it favoured MadLions, as they had the ability just to collapse onto the singular member caught out, whereas Fnatic really couldn't do much to save him, and they should have just left him for dead and ran away, instead of trying to get a bit greedy and kill off the low health Rakan, who wouldn't have been worth much to him anyway. But that's going to be it for this Anarchy analysis. I've kept it short and sweet, and if you enjoyed it, leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new here if you want to, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.